Okay. So, another Monday, another stream. Uh, Plenty to talk about. So let's get right into it. Um, I think, of course, the first thing on any trader's mind is the big Globex gap. So we had basically from the actual close, like the futures close, 660. And then the first print here was 24,500, so over 100 point gap to just the low of day. Like the true gap fill is 24,600, so that's about 100 point gap. I already took some trades in Globex. I'm up about 75 points, so basically played into the strength towards the end of the Asia session, and unfortunately my second runner, this was like a 2 lot trade. They got me by like 10 points here before they ripped it up here. To be honest, most interesting is that there was no follow through. Like this was basically a big squeeze, and sellers defended the gap by a few points here. So that is interesting to watch. However, statistically, at least the system I've built, when we do have Globex gaps, at least from Sunday night, so like Friday to Monday, historically they filled 75% of the time. But we'll see if that remains true. 75% of the time within the first day, like the day of the gap. So obviously that's not all the time, but it's a decent statistic to think about. Another thing too that I've had my eyes on is the poor low down here on NQ. So let me I can give a little description of what that really is. So if you drop down to like a lower time frame here, these swing lows in the Globex last night, this is not like in terms of auction market theory, this is not a complete auction, so to speak. They pushed off, they sold into it, they pushed off, they sold into it, and then we had a little poke below, but this is like whatever, 5 points, and with this type of vol, that's nothing at all. That's a very and most interestingly, 2,400 is a nice round number. So who knows, algos, people with resting orders, it's a very what you can call like a mechanical low. That may or may not be broken. So that's also on watch. I think on both NQ and MNQ, the VPOC is a little bit lower still. So down at 250 on the overnight. TPOC down at 250 on NQ, and 300 on MNQ. So I'd be watching this low volume node here at the open, see if buyers defend that, because I think if we get back into the value areas of the overnight, then the story for lower, cleaning up this poor low and then going even lower is more convincing. We can look into the gamma and vanna surface, which kind of makes things more of a pain. It's not clear to me if there would be any decent trades at the open. I don't know. With this vol, who knows? Anything really could happen. We're at VIX 30, so. And with that said, the vanna levels are probably more of a dominant here. So if today is really like a sort of vol crush day, because basically, let me explain a little bit my thinking. Like vol is high, but price, like it's been very choppy. I would expect a 30 VIX with like much more deeper selling. But we're not even at the lows of the range, and VIX is 30, so it could be a prime chance for like vol crushers to just rip this thing. And if we do get a decent vol crush, we could see one of those like 3-4% days. Not calling this at all. I'm not saying it's possible, but that would put us back up to like 610 on the Qs if that happens. Just saying that with VIX this high, sellers really need to get a move on to like make a statement, and whatever negative connotations that may have, if they do push this thing, once we get this high and there's continuation, things really start to unravel, because like as we know, the vanna levels, as VIX grows and these negative ones below spot, so as VIX is bid and spot moves down into these vanna levels, first dealers have to sell deltas into the selling. So first would come 590, 585, and then below 580 is like full crisis mode. Is that on the table today? I don't know. I would say those would be the two edge cases, like a 3% rip up to like 610s, or just like a complete sell off. But that would be like the edge case, bull and bear. I think much more interesting to watch for now is this gap fill, which is like a very how would I say, like a poetic 100, almost exactly 100 points, so to 24,500 up to 24,600. So it's a very interesting, like mechanical thing to note. And also the poor low is also a very round number, so very interesting here. Seems to me like when stuff gets really crazy, most traders don't have, or maybe it's algos, they just don't have any references to go off of. So things tend to just go to round numbers. I don't know. That's more anecdotal than anything. But yeah, let's see. Really, for me, most important is the VIX right now. So we gapped up. Looks like vol buyers have been defending that gap. So I got a little notification at 30. Basically, if 30 prints, they've closed the gap, and maybe we see some more, I guess, reversion. So equities up if they break that 30 level. So yeah, remains to be seen here. Pretty choppy after that initial push up for the past, what is this, like 2-3 hours on the higher time frames. So yeah, let's see what they want to do. We still got 5 minutes. What else can I ramble about? Yeah, I mean, on the GEX-VEX, that's the standard, like above, as we've seen, above spot are reinforcing flows. If it all depends on volatility. If vol is offered, then the opposite is true. Dealers have to buy deltas up through these strikes. So up through 595, 596, 597, and 597. It's jumping around though, so I wanna immediately check these surfaces a few seconds after the opening prints to see like if anything dramatically changes. So a big range here. Like there's stuff getting thrown around. These are 100-point half-hour candles, so yeah, reflective of the 30 vol that we have. So still 5 minutes here. Yeah, another thing I could talk about, like on higher time frames. This is more like, again, to like, I guess the bull case, you would say. At least on futures, like we fairly well swept the lows. On lower time frame, like I said, like that's a poor low. But like on a daily, it's very clear we kind of cleaned up those swing lows. So, swing traders here at the open could could be a little bit stir crazy. And typically the rule is when you're at one side of balance, you target all the way up to all-time highs to the other side of balance. Again, I would not be the biggest bull here, but just exactly because everyone is so bearish, markets tend to have a way of doing the last thing that everyone is expecting. So yeah, I think we'll just have to see how order flow acts at the open here. So just to compare levels here, we said moving up through those Vanna levels, 595 up to 598. Go down to the half hour. So if vol is offered, we could push through up to about, that would almost be 598 would almost be the true gap fill. So definitely could see that happening. And then to the downside, of course, let's see if I can zoom out a bit here. What did we say? We have 590, 585, and 580. Oops. So yeah, 595, 590, 585 would be down here, and then 580 if sellers just hammer this. However, things could get a little rough on the sell-off side just because we have so much positive gamma down here. So those will basically be counteracting. It's in gamma terms, it's mean reversion regime. In Vanna terms, if vol is bid, then it's continuation regime. So that's those two. And that's what our GEXVEX shows, like below spot. That's all opposing flows. So if there is a sell-off, it would be super tough to get in. Not really like a straight price, spot down would be the least likely. Of course, everything's always possible, but just less likely because of those conflicting flows. But yeah, VIX is somewhat sticky here. I mean, every attempt they've made keeps bidding back up. So quite interesting. And the other thing, like the final thing I wanted to mention here, just got a minute left. We're opening like almost right at the max GEX, and that happened on Friday. That was basically 600 strike, where we opened off the jobs numbers. And anyone who's watching Friday, that open was super messy. It was really hard to try and get longs. I was swinging long because usually numbers response is usually backfilled, and it was. Then we chopped and we came right back to that 600 strike. So, all right, 20 seconds till the open. Let's drop down. It looks like it really looks like they want to fill this gap, and they could do it. Knowing this market, they'll do it within the first minute. Yeah, so there it goes. My trade of 8 is basically freezing. Let's see here what VIX does after the first minute here. If they can close to 30 even. But so far, looking for order flow at 24,500. Definitely bids up there. Yeah, so that could have been, let's see if they fill me for 500 here. Let's see if there's any interest in that, in filling that gap. Problem is, even a 50-point stop with this type of vol is sketchy. Okay. So definitely dropping down here. Let's see if they want to push up through there. So yeah, the 595 gamma strike could make things kind of a pain. And we don't really get vanna up until 600. There's only a little bit of positive vanna up here, so. But I'm gonna get out of this if there's no follow through soon. I would expect them to fill the gap sooner. Must be some seller like defending this. Let's see if there's a push here, otherwise I'm gonna now some sells coming on. Looks like I might be toasted here. Yeah, that's it. So probably should have gotten out for a scratch there. But it's like I said, like these opens where we open right near like a max gamma, it's usually pretty strong and you get a lot of chop before it resolves here. And VIX is rebidding a little bit, so on the higher time frame, it looks strong, but like clearly not, at least for now, not like panic, risk off price action. A little bit of backfilling, a little bit of pushing. So no like opening drive sell to the downside. So look at MNQ as well. MNQ is only green, so in terms of delta. see if they defend the open. If they want to offer the 1 minute. Like I said, like 30 VIX, the sellers really need to push this. Basically, they rapidly run out of time with VIX this high. But these two wicks look pretty garbage on a higher time frame. So deltas look good, but there's definitely some bids down here. Okay, 590 has now shifted to max gex, so it's even below those swing lows from last week. So yeah, that single print down there. Now we're below the open range here. Looks pretty weak. So I could try short, but I don't want above, I guess, like the open. But tight stops in this environment is super tough. Let's see if they push through there. Kind of targeting the new max gamma. That looks weak, but see what happens. That's the issue with this positive gamma. These positive gamma areas, like Vanna wants, or dealers have to sell deltas into negative Vanna, but in positive gamma they have to buy. So that's why you get, like, if there's going to be a sell, it's very heavily backfilled, and like this type of very tough shorting price action. So but yeah, like I said, like sellers, if they want Vanna to dominate, they really need to keep hammering VIX and selling it. Otherwise they're going to run out of time, and we rip, we get a vol crush event and we just rip. This is just really tough. Wild price action. I think to to avoid my suffering, I'll target that low volume node there. See if they want to tag that, the 350. Where exactly is 590 is that even below? Yeah, 590 is somewhere down there. So I don't know if they want that swing low. Okay, so auto break even. Need 10 more points here. Can they do it without blasting my stop? As we discussed, this would be where longs would want to defend. Would be these single prints, but NQ typically runs them, at least in my experience, usually runs them for a few points, and then if there is bids, then that's when they come on. So let's see if they tag 350 here. Still looking weak, but need him to push. This will be like a 42 point if it hits. Decent absorption here. Really decent absorption. May cut this. Yeah, I'm out. So they may continue to sell it, but there's like an 18 point. That was a full 50, unfortunately. So yeah, let's see. They may continue to sell this. They might want that lower distribution, especially on MNQ, the 250, the overnight TPOC. Let's see if they tag 350 here. Would make sense. I mean, typically the round numbers are kind of like liquidity pockets. But there is this really strong absorption at these single prints. Okay, so I got some other stuff to do today, so I'm gonna head out. Yeah, we tried a long. This would have been a 1 minute opening range breakout to the upside, targeting that gap fill for like 100 points, right at 24,500. Then we took the short as we saw the gamma surface changed, and we discussed like this mess of positive gamma but negative vanna makes for pretty tough shorting. Maybe that's something I have to work on, is my patience, because now, yeah, they just tagged 2550. So, yeah, tough conditions here. Big minute long moves. So there you go. That's looks like defense off of the lows. But sellers still basically to the tick defending the 1 minute opening range there. So interesting. But yeah, 1 loss, 1 win. Win was smaller than the loss. Not the best of streams today, but we move on. All right, I think with that I'm gonna end out the stream here, and yeah, take care everyone, and see you next Monday.